Hi folks, Shell Busey again, and here we are talking about our Shell Busey Home Services. And you know how you can get in touch with the home services? Because you've already got there. That's why you're now watching this video. And we're going to talk to a gentleman tonight that happens to be the Duraseal Protection. And his name is Dallas. How you doing, Dallas?
Good, Shell. Nice to see you.
It's always nice to have people here that have been with us for a long time, because one of the things about our service, all of the service trades have been with us a long time. And we are the longest running home service center, I guess, in Western Canada. And you being part of it, I want you to tell our viewers that are now on our website, askshell.com, what Duraseal Protection is all about.
Well, Shell, we're a concrete sealing company of used age services and new services. Basically, we do aggregate, stamped concrete, paving stones, and brick surfaces. So we'll come in, clean it with a power washer one day, wait for it to dry overnight, and then seal it with the chemical compound that we use. It's an acrylic-based solvent, or we can use water-based as well.
Right.
The only thing different would be the pavers and the bricks, and that would involve sanding the surfaces. So we take a polymeric sand, sweep that into the joints, and then after that, seal it after it's all dried.
Now, polymeric sand is something that, and you talked about acrylic coatings as well, and solvent-based, all these different products. And I know that they're different from one another. I know when homeowners today, in the DIY, the do-it-yourself marketplace, they'll go into a store and they'll ask for a product to do their paving stones or their exposed aggregate, and they'll be looked at in some cases with the jaundiced eye, saying, really, we better go to the area where it's on the shelves and we'll read some labels. But that's why we have Duraseal on our referral network,
Right.
that there's quite a difference out there. And the sand that you speak of, why that type of sand?
For years, we used to just use normal play box sand, just like loose sand that you pretty much find at the beach. But the problem with that is it would come out and be loose within, days, weeks of me doing it. So it was always disappointing for us to do such a great job and then look back and just go, the weeds were coming back, the sand was popping out and whatnot. So polymeric sand, I guess we've been using it about 10 years now. And what it is, it's a sand, it's got a bonding agent within it. So when we wash the bricks the next day, I'll sweep in the sand, and what you do is you take sort of a garden setting on your garden hose, soak that sand, and it has a chemical reaction that solidifies it. And so not only do you get the solidification of the sand through that polymeric reaction with it, but then when we seal it with our sealer on top, it's bonded even more. So the lasting life of it is just 5 times long, 10 times longer than what.
So it stops as weed business,
Yeah.
and the bird droppings that turn into weeds and dandelions and plantations and all that sort of effort that again becomes maintenance. So why the importance of sealing concrete? Pavings stones are one, but you got exposed aggregate, you got broom finish. In fact, I was told the other day that some people don't even seal broomed concrete, and I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where a lot of those other surfaces that you talked about, which is the aggregate, the stamp, the paving stone, the bricks, there's a certain aesthetic to it. With brushed concrete, it looks like a sidewalk, so people don't always upkeep that, even though you should, because it breaks down in the weather just like everything else does. So any type of concrete surface, like I just mentioned, should be resurfaced and resealed and cleaned and whatnot, just to keep up basically, the aesthetic of it, one. It keeps the value of your home because of the beauty of it.
Right.
It protects the concrete from all the elements and whatnot. So instead of your driveway breaking down through the elements, the seal breaks down, and then you just reapply it. So it also strengthens the concrete. A lot of the times you get those cracks because of the freezing and the thawing of the concrete. Doesn't happen as much because not only does it sit on the surface, but it permeates through the concrete, through the bricks, and all the different surfaces. So that way it keeps the integrity and strengthens it. And the more often you do it, we recommend anywhere from like every 3rd to 5th year, depending on how quickly it breaks down.
Right. Well, it's very important, I think, concrete today, that it's like the old saying, concrete is final. Well, it isn't really final, because there is a certain amount of maintenance, and preserving of that concrete that has to be done.
Yeah.
And when it comes to a company like Duraseal, you're not only dealing with the fact that sealing the concrete, but you're stopping a lot of things that would possibly react in a form of a crack, a hairline crack. You know, a lot of people think, well, you know, they put wire mesh and everything else, and they put rebar in my concrete, but it's still cracked. Well, that their material, like your rebar and your mesh, is there to stop it from pulling apart.
Yeah.
You'll still get cracks.
Yeah.
So stop the crack from becoming a concern by sealing it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like everything. The elements deteriorate everything. I mean, there's Roman roads that are thousands of years old, but they've still deteriorated next to nothing. You know, look at anything in the world. So, being that that will happen to this as well, like I said, my product breaks down instead of the integrity of any of the concrete surfaces.
Yeah.
So it keeps the integrity of it. It keeps the lasting life of it for, you know, as long as you own the house, or maybe even longer, right?
Right.
So that's one of the things, and one of the big reasons to do that is just all those reasons before that.
Now, what about garages and areas that are underneath covers like awnings, patios? I know a lot of people today, they've got outdoor areas that are covered, that they have picnic areas, even the industry, the commercial application, the town, the city projects. Even though it's covered, it still should be sealed.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, right? Just because it's moderately covered doesn't mean it's not out in the elements. So just all those surfaces, like you said, like driveways, walkways, patios, whether they're I never do it fully enclosed surfaces. So garages are like the closest thing that I'll do, where it's almost fully enclosed. But you know, when I'm doing my prep work and the application, it's open, so
Right.
you don't get the trap or the fumes or anything else going on like that. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, like anything that you've got an outside concrete surface should be sealed to help on the lasting.
Like a
life of it.
gazebo, you
Yeah,
can do the
yeah.
underside.
No, I've done all
concrete.
all those things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I've done all sorts of things like that: patios, gazebos, covered walkways, anything like that. As
What
long
about
as it's
stone
outside.
walls? These I call them licking sticks.
Yeah, no, I keep everything horizontal. I
Mhm.
don't go up vertical. So like I had mentioned before, it's driveways, patios, walkways, stuff like that. Keep it simple. I just do one thing and specifically working at one
Stamped
area.
concrete too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
all those things, but I just do one particular service, and that's what I'm the best at, and that's keeps it simple and
Good, better, best. Why worry about the rest?
yeah, exactly.
You know, why do something that it doesn't require it? But when it does, deal with a professional like yourself that has that product, that service, that quality of application that does mean that down the road saving of maintenance
Yeah.
that's going to be costly.
Yeah, because typically, I mean, to replace a new aggregate driveway costs anywhere from like $20,000, I think, to rip it up
Oh,
first,
yeah.
right? You know, and then to reseal it, and then, you know, without talking about brick driveways, I mean, if you just originally get that done, I think they're around $50,000 just to do it, just to lay it. So to take that up after it's been destroyed and put it back down, the cost of it is
Just the
prohibitive.
disposing of it.
Yeah, instead of like, you know, I said every 2 to 5 years you reseal it, and that cost will keep that down instead of replacing the whole thing. Right?
Now tell me, here's a loaded question for you, and I hope it's not loaded. But on the other hand, it's almost like a furnace maintenance.
Yeah.
That you get that call every year to do a furnace maintenance. Do you have that service that you would phone and follow up with people saying, you know, it's high time you do that exposed aggregate again?
Yeah. No, I'd say about 50% of my business is repeat customers. So I've had customers, we've been doing it 20 years, that I've had since pretty much day one. And that same sort of thing where, like I had said, the product breaks down. And just depending, like, you know, a south-facing patio is not going to get as much wear and tear as a driveway that's facing south. So the driveway will break down faster than the patio. So sometimes I've come back in 2 years to do a patio. Sometimes I've come back in 5 years to do a driveway.
Right.
And like I said, you just reapply it. Usually the customers call me, but I never hesitate to give people a call and say, you know, how's it looking? How's it doing? Do you want to reseal it? The only thing that I suggest is not to do it any more than every second or third year, because the opposite you get is a buildup of the product, and then it turns white on you, and then you're in a whole nother, like, something you just don't want to
Stripping
do.
and all the rest of the things that have to take place.
Exactly, right.
Costly.
Yeah, so it's a
Costly.
fine line.
So when should you seal? When should you seal?
Basically, it's you know, a seasonal business. So my season runs anywhere from like April 15th to, if I'm lucky, October 15th. It's got to be warm enough, above 15 degrees Celsius, a sunny day. I can power wash and clean it in the rain, but as far as sealing, I have to have a nice dry day. So those are basically the times when you're best suited.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you have it. You see, folks, it's very important when it comes to concrete. And I always like to say, should you seal concrete? Absolutely. How do you tell? Well, when it rains, you see very much that dark surface appearance that the water has now gone into the concrete and now it's looking wet. And it takes a longer period of time to cure or to dry out. And that's when you call them. And you call Dallas and you, through our Shell Busey Home Services, askshell.com, right along the bottom of your monitor there, and make a note and give us a call. Because Dallas will go out, take a look at it, give you a price on it, but I'll tell you, save yourself the time and the money and the cost of more maintenance and certainly replacement. And get her done and get it done now by the people who really know concrete sealing. It's just that easy. So the how to, the what to, the where to, the why to, the when to, the who to. Dallas, he's the who to guy. Thanks very much,
All right,
Dallas.
thanks, Shel.
Pleasure. Nice to have you. And it's always nice to be able to see the face of the service that you're going to be talking to on the other end of the telephone and or knocking on your door to give you a quote on your project. So until next time, thanks for viewing and thanks for making your decision to use the askshell.com service. Bye-bye for now. We'll talk to you soon.